What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Full Metal Digimon. Was messing around on my Mathmech deck. I wanted to show you guys a few replays, so I think let's just jump right into them. We'll do the deck profile later. Alright? Alright. For the first duel, we are going second, and we are going up against something crazy. You'll see. So we get the Maxi off in the draw phase, which is supposed to be good, except set 4 chain energy. Gotta love that. Okay. So we're gonna get burned for 500 every time we activate a card, normal summon, special summon. Anything that goes from our hand to the field is gonna burn us for 500. So we're gonna circular, sending the Sigma from the deck to the grave to summon himself. And he is going to Ojama Trio, summoning 3 Ojama tokens to our field. So, not necessarily the best deck to do that against. Though, I actually, in this replay, have 0 cards that can link off with tokens. So, we have to figure out something different to do. Normally, you just IP Masquerena right there. But instead, we're going to go ahead and summon out our Sigma from our hand, searching for the Factorial, which lets us XC summon on their turn. And we're actually going to Synchro summon using some of their tokens into the Final Sigma. And Final Sigma is unaffected by other card effects while he's in the extra monster zone. And if he does damage to a monster, he's going to do double damage to that monster. So we swing him for 3k right through a magic cylinder and pass it on over to him. And now it's just a waiting game. This is more of a scrub duel, but I saved it because it was funny. I haven't seen chain energy since I was a kid. This used to be a menace on the playground, alright? Summon the subtraction. Get what is that? Blazing Mirror Force. Oh yeah, hit him with the 3k. Super Factorial and XC summon for lethal. Into the Blasian. We'll go over what these cards actually do in a more serious than this duel, but yep, XC summon during the battle phase, swing in for 2000 extra damage. And that's the first duel. And I'll be with you in just a second for the next duel. Okay, let's pop in for this second duel. I believe we're going second again against something disgusting. Runic. Alright, so up against a real deck here. Runic is going to summon the Hugin, searching for the fountain, and discarding a Naturia Sunflower, which is the negate. It's gonna Runic Fountain, Runic Tip, searching for another Runic card. Banishing a Ash Blossom off our deck. Runic Slumber, just to get the draw 2 from the graveyard. Oh, no, that's a draw 3, in fact. 1, 2, 3. Return to the deck, draw 3 cards. Summon the Camellia, which will send a Naturia card from your deck to the grave. Sending the Mole Cricket. Now, this card says if you would tribute a monster, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard instead. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can special summon a Naturia from your graveyard. They can then reborn the Mole Cricket or the Sunflower. So it's our turn, and we have an okay hand. We got ways to search for the circular. We're going to Small World. He's going to Max C. And we're going to have to just let it happen. So Small World's gonna bridge the gap between the Nibiru and the Effect Veiler for our Circular. Circular's going to send the Sigma to summon. Beautiful. Camellia's gonna activate and Ghost Bell is going to negate. So we have the answer for the Camellia right now, at least. And then Sigma's gonna activate, summoning from the grave. Circular's going to activate, searching for an equation. We can then XC summon into our Alan Bershin. Now, Alan Bershin can detach his 2 materials to search for any Mathmech card from our deck to the hand. And here, since we summoned an extra deck monster, he gets to special summon his Mole Cricket from the graveyard. Then he can, at quick effect, tribute this card to summon 2 Naturia monsters from the deck, since I have the monster with the highest attack on the field. Very good. This is a very powerful deck right now. I might have to go and craft this, honestly. They summons a Molt Cricket, another Camellia. Since the Camellia was special summoned from the deck, it'll send a Sacred Tree. Sacred Tree, search for the Blessing. Blessing is a quick effect, a Synchro or Fusion, or a Reborn. So Diameter, we're going to normal summon, Reborn the Multiplication, activate Addition, and we can send all of these into, again, the final Sigma. Now, I do believe this is the best way to deal with what he's got going on. So, he's going to activate Flashing Fire. We're unaffected. He's going to activate Slumber. On this, it doesn't matter. We would have been unaffected from that as well. Here, he's just going to get to draw. And we get to negate, since we used the Diameter to Synchro Summon into the final Sigma. A lot of people don't know that Diameter does that, and then we hit with the double damage, and we win. So yeah, you can use the Super Factorial to Reborn the Multiplication, and send it to double your attack. Fun fact. Alright, that is a beautiful replay. Let's jump into another one. Alright. And we're going again. This time I do believe we're actually going first. So we're going to activate our Circular, sending the Sigma. Sigma's going to activate, reborning himself, triggering Circular to search for a spell or trap. Grab the Super Factorial, link these, or Xyz, into the Alimbertion. Alimbersion's going to grab the Diameter. Diameter can normal summon. This is the stock standard way to do the combo here. Summon the Sigma, go into a Cyberse Wicked. Alimbersion's going to tribute himself to summon a Diameter from the grave. It doesn't matter what you summon from the grave, it's just to trigger this. Banish the Alimbersion to search for a Diameter for next turn. Weaken Addition, summon here. Link these into a Splash Mage. And Splash Mage Reborn. This is for the Terahertz. Wow! Neo Tempest Terahertz. Now this card is a little confusing, but once per turn, you can send a Cyberse monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and then this card will gain its attribute and 2500 attack power permanently. So here, we're just sending a subtraction just to have an extra math mech in the grave, but you can send the multiplication or the Nabla to get their bonus effects. I think there's also another one that reduces attack power, but I don't remember. There's also the Aggregator in the extra deck that if you send it to the graveyard, Mirror Logic Aggregator, all of that is irrelevant. If this card is sent to the graveyard, target a face-up card and negate its effects until the end of the turn, which is awesome. It's back row too. You can get over floodgates. So we have the Factorial and the quick effect negate. We can also double our attack power if we need to. Here he's going for a spell and trap, so we're just going to go ahead and Super Factorial anyway. And we're going to Xyz summon underneath of our Neo Tempest. Boom, boom, boom. And remember, if you use the Diameter, you do get an Omni Negate as well. So we summon the Laplacian. Lightning Storm's going to destroy the Factorial, whatever. Laplacian's going to activate to send a card from his hand to the grave, and he's going to imperm us. But since we have the Omni Negate, we can go ahead and negate that. Which not only gets a card out of his hand, but also gets that imperm out of his hand too. Boom, boom, and we find out that it is Ancient Warriors, a very scary deck to go first against. And here we're going to get hit with the Ultimate Slayer. Did you know that this card had a cutscene? Appaloosa looking awesome. But here, what he does is he sends a Link Monster to send my Link Monster to the graveyard. And then he's going to activate Tenki to try to get his whole combo going, and we're going to negate that. And we had way too much in the hand for him to deal with. He sets one and passes. We draw into a Lava Golem. Doesn't matter, we're going to Diameter, summon from the grave. Link that off into a Lingaribo, just in case that's something crazy. I didn't even feel it activate, so we just link up into transcode, summon from the graveyard, access code, swing in. Beautiful duel. Let's jump into one more. Alright, for my last replay of the day, I'll surprise you with the deck type. So going first, we're going to Mathmech Circular, send the Sigma. This is the main play you want to do. This is why we play Signet Mining at 3. It's why we play Small World. And Bystial Baldrake is the reason you don't play Mathmechs anymore. So banish the Sigma. That's fine. Now we need to use the Signet to go extendo even more. Get Ash Blossomed. Ugh. That's pretty rough, dog. But we're not out of options yet. So we link our Circular off into a Lingaribo, which will trigger our Parallel XC. This is why I say this card is necessary in the deck. Activate the Parallel, summon another from the deck. Both of them becoming level 4. And you can actually go into your Alimbertion, which is any 2 level 4 monsters. Add a Mathmech Nabla to the hand. Alimbertion's going to trigger, resummoning from the grave, the Circular, summon the Nabla, Circular is going to trigger, grab the equation. Nabla is nice because you contribute a monster to get a Mathmech on the field to do things like this. Synchro Summon into the final Sigma, since I'm pretty sure Factorial is going to get interrupted. So we have the Factorial, we have the final Sigma, we can go into the Laplacian. So here he's going to Bystial Lubellion. We don't worry about that. We're going to wait for him to try to trigger a Bystial, targeting one of our cards, and then Factorial with it. Hoping that he doesn't have a second Bystial. Please? Oh, that's the sound I like to hear. Chain Resolving. Alright, so we summon our 3. We go into our Laplacian. Now, we did not use Diameter, so we do not have an Omni Negate. But Laplacian is still pretty beastly himself. Detaching 2 to send from the field here, and 1 random from the hand. Sending a Zeom in, and a Baldrake. Now here he's going to activate his Foxy Tune, discarding another card, summon the Zeom in from the deck, grabbing the Shirakusai. Alright, so our guy's gaming. Shirakusai is going to fusion summon using monsters on the field into the Carp. Carp's going to tribute, summoning 2 from the deck. Synchro summoning these into a Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. What a good card to use against us right now. So here he's going to swing in, which is going to activate his second effect to gain its attack and make a second attack in the battle phase, taking out our final Sigma, letting us search for a Diameter. Now here Foxy Tune's going to swing for 23, and he's going to set 1 and pass it over. We're in a pretty rough spot, but we do have the Diameter. It's the best normal summon in the whole deck right here. So Diameter, normal summon, reborn from the grave. We get Solemn Striked. Counter traps, can't stop them, dude. So that's going to negate Diameter, negate the effect from the grave. We're going to have to Equation, resummon our final Sigma. Though we can't summon him to the extra monster zone, so he's not unaffected or anything. He's just some dude with a flaming sword with 4,000 attack power. We swing over the Foxy Tune, pass it over, we lose the 1,000 attack boost, and we're facing down this Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. He's going to swing over our final Sigma, no problem. Gain our attack power going up to 8,000 attack. We're going to get the search again. Okay, this time we're going to search for a Circular, since we need another Sigma in the grave. He has 8,000 attack and a face down. Let's see what we can do. You ready? We draw into a Signet Mining. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Signet Mining, discard Small World. We're going to search for the Diameter. This is the 2-card combo that dreams are made of, alright? Circular, send Sigma, summon himself. Ooh, he's going to banish the Circular. Rough, dude, but it's okay. So we're going to normal summon Diameter. Summon from the grave the Nabla. We're going to Sigma, activate from the grave. Link these 2 off into an Alimbertion. Alimbertion's going to activate the search. He's gonna call by, targeting the Allen version in my graveyard, thinking that's gonna work. Omni Negate. And now things are looking a little tight for my guy over here. So we're gonna search for a Subtract Con. It's subtraction. I call it what I want, okay? Reduce, summon, link off into the Splash Mage, reborn from the grave. Go into a transcode. Transcode is going to reborn from the grave, the Splash Mage. Beautiful. You can go into a Terahertz or an Access Code Talker here. Now, why would you go into a Terahertz, okay? Now, we can just pop this Draco Berserker, no problem. But Terahertz, you can send a multiplication, gain 2,500 attack, and then double what your attack is. So you can go up to about 10,000 attack pretty quick with the Terahertz. But 5,000 is going to be enough to beat this guy out. So we're going to pop the Draco Berserker, swing in for the 5,300, lethal damage. There you go. That's what MathMech wants to look like. I'll be honest, the win streak was not pretty. I actually D-ranked trying to get these. So yeah, let's get to the honest part of the video. Let's go to the deck list. Alright, we're here with the deck list. This is what we ended on with our MathMech deck. So we're just gonna go from top down the way I like to do it. All right. We play an Effect Veiler. This is a Small World bridge. We will talk about that when we get there, and I probably still can't explain it to you. We play one Dot Scaper. If this card's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon it. So you can normal summon this, link into a Lingaribo, special summon him from the graveyard, link into something else, and just keep going and going and going. The Microcoder. If a Cyberse monster you control will be used to summon a Code Talker, you can use this card in the hand as well. And then if you do, you can add a Signet Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand. So you can add a Signet Mining for extensions, or a Signet Conflict if you intended to end on a Decode Talker Heat Soul to then have an Omni Negate with it. We play 3 Maxis. We play 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Onto our, well, hand traps. Let's go. Fucking Nibiru, Thunder King, Lightning Kaiju, and Lava Golem. Alright. For the MathMech cards, we're playing 2 Sigma, who can resummon himself from the grave or hand when there's no monster in the extra deck zone. We have 1 Nabla, who contribute a Cyberse monster to summon a MathMech from the deck. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Cyberse in the extra monster zone, and it will gain 2 attacks during each battle phase this turn. Beautiful card. We play 2 MathMech Edition. This card's really simple. Target a monster, it gains 1,000 attack, and you summon this card. Subtraction, same thing. Target a monster, loses 1,000 attack, summon this card. These are the OG MathMech monsters. You have the MathMech Multiplication. You can target a level 4 Cyberse you control, and it becomes level 8 until the end of the turn, turning this and any of the tuners into 1 card level 12 Synchros, which you just make the final Sigma. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a Cyberse in the extra monster zone. Its attack becomes double until the end of the turn. And that activates typically at the end of the crazy combos you're trying to do. You have Diameter. This is the best normal summon in the deck, as when it is normal summoned, you can target a level 4 Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon it, though it cannot activate its effects. But a MathMech monster that was Synchro or XC summoned using this card gains the following effect. Once per turn, during the turn this card was summoned, when your opponent activates a card or effect, negate that effect. No cost, no problem. You got MathMech Circular. This is the best starter for the whole deck. It is one of the only URs you really need for the whole deck. This card says you can send a MathMech monster except himself from the deck to the grave to special summon this card. Also, you can only attack with 1 monster for the rest of this turn. If another MathMech monster is normal or special summoned to your field while you control this monster, add a MathMech spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and each one is a hard once per turn. So this is the card you want to open with. You use this card to send your Sigma, who can then summon himself to then trigger your Circular to search for a spell or trap, which will be your MathMech Equation, which can resummon a MathMech monster from your graveyard as you saw, or your Factorial, which can resummon 3 MathMechs from your graveyard and then Synchro or XC summon using them, which you saw both of. Yeah, Circular's the best card, and we have multiple ways to search it. So you can Signet Mining, discard to search this card. You can also use Small World, which I fluctuate how many copies I use, depending on how I'm feeling that day. This has been very consistent, so I dropped it down, but Small World lets you reveal a monster in your hand, choose a monster in your deck that only matches one of these, that has exactly one of the same type, attribute, level, attack, or defense. It has to be one of those. And then you can banish that monster and then add from your deck to your hand a different monster with another one of those. So, for example, I think in one of the replays you saw, you can banish Nibiru, then banish Effect Veiler, since they're both light, but they don't share any other things. Since he's a rock and he's a spellcaster, he's level 1, he's level 11, 3,600, 0 and 0. The only thing they have in common is being light attribute. And then you can bridge from him to your Circular, since the only thing they have in common is being light attribute. And there are other combinations you can do involving Microcoder or Dotscaper or Maxi or whatever. You want to get to your Effect Veiler, which will let you get to Circular. Alright, that's the main point. Ignore pretty much everything else. Our other main deck monster is the Parallel Exceed. Like I said, this is almost necessary. If this card is special summoned by its own effect, or the effect of another one of these, its attack and defense become halved and its level becomes 4. If you link summon, you can special summon this card from your hand to a zone that link monster points to, and if it's normal or special summoned, you can special summon another one of these from your deck, which is amazing and lets you extend super hard. When you summon the two of them, they will be level 4 and they can go into your Xyz monster as well, which we'll go into in just a moment. The rest of our deck is just Called by the Graves, Harpy Feather Duster, Cross-Out Designator, just general hand traps and things to play around things in the meta. The only other card is the Signet Conflict, and it's Omni Negate that banishes the card, and your opponent can't activate any cards with that name until the end of the next turn, which is awesome. Onto the extra deck, we have the Geomathmech Final Sigma. This is the big boy, weighing over him. You saw him a lot. Unaffected by card effects while in the extra monster zone. Does double damage while in the extra monster zone. There's a lot of ways to make him do even more damage. Though, he has a problem with getting over 3,000 attack, just like randomly sometimes, and can get swung over pretty easy. But he's still pretty good, very easy to go into in this deck. Onto the Prime Mathmech. Prima Mathmech Laplacian. He's our other boss monster. If a Mathmech card you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead. And if this card is summoned, you can detach up to 3 materials and then choose that many effects to resolve in the listed order. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my god, the way they word these things is crazy. But you will send a random card from your opponent's hand to the grave, send a monster your opponent controls to the grave, and send a spell or trap they control to the grave. You can do all 3. That's a send 3. It's basically a Xyz Trishilla. Your other Xyz is your Alan Bershin. This card lets you, on summon, detach 2 materials to add a Mathmech card from your deck to your hand. And can also tribute himself to special summon a level 4 Mathmech monster from your hand or your graveyard, which lets you trigger certain cards and do things. The Merologic Aggregator is just here to send to the graveyard to negate a card with the Firewall Dragon. Onto the Link monsters, and this is kind of tight, honestly. You may be able to change a little bit of this around, but not too much, if I'm being honest. We play 1 Lingaribo. Lingaribo is just any level 4 or lower Cyberse monster and can negate a trap card, which is huge. We have the Cyberse Wicked, which when a monster is summoned underneath this card, you can banish a card from your graveyard, a Cyberse monster, to then search a Cyberse tuner, which will be your Diameter for follow-up plays. Super important. You kind of do this almost every first turn. Update Jammer. If you use this card for a Link Summon, the monster that you Link Summoned into can then attack twice in the same turn, which is good. It gets around our Mathmech Circular restriction of attacking with 1 monster for the rest of the turn. I'm playing 2 Splash Mage. I love this card. You make it with any 2 Cyberse monsters and can target a Cyberse in your graveyard and special summon it. locks you into Cyberse, but everything we play is Cyberse. So this gets you into your Transcode Talker, which can summon a Link 3 or lower Cyberse Link monster in your graveyard, except itself, and special summon it to a zone this card points to. This card is super huge, especially if you've already made, in turns prior, a Decode Talker Heat Soul. This card, along with Transcode, Transcode says it and its co-linked monsters gain 500 attack. This card gains 500 attack for each monster it points to. You can, once per turn, pay 1,000 life points to draw a card. You can do that on your opponent's turn as well. And then, I'm not sure what you would do with all that. Link 3 or lower Cyberse from your extra deck except himself. But it's fine. He draws a card every single turn, and while he's on the field, you can use your Signet Conflict. And then our big bosses, we have Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax, just because this is an instant win against so many different decks. You have the Access Code Talker for big beat stick energy when you're nearing the end of a duel. We also play a ton of different attributes leading up to a lot of pops with this card. And then the new card, the only really new card in the whole deck list, the Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid Neo Tempest Terahertz! You make this with 3+ Cyberse monsters. Basically, it lets you send a card from your deck to your graveyard, and it steals the attribute of that card and gains 2,500 attack permanently for each one that you send. It can also attack monsters up to the number of attributes that it has, which is insane. Because just off the one, it can attack twice, then you send a second one, and then you're doing it again and again and again. So yeah, that's the deck. If I had to rate it, I'd say Rogue. You already have it. It's pretty good. Maybe go at Ignister. You know, maybe think of changing decks. I don't think anything else really came out that like helped this deck. Like in the TCG to keep it relevant. It's just very flexible. The core is very small. You can play tons of hand traps. You don't have to play these if you wanted to play Droll, if you want to play more Kaijus, more Lava Golems. We can actually small world into the Lava Golem as well. You know, there's just a lot of things you can do with this deck, especially if it's like the main deck that you play. But it takes a lot of knowledge and like dedication to get to that level with this deck, and I just don't have the time. But that's, you know, my experience with the deck here in Platinum. We will be switching to something else very soon. Let me know what deck you think I should play, and let me know what deck you're playing this season down in the comments. Thanks again. Have a good night, guys. Deuces.